The moment he stepped into my house, I knew it wasn't just a confrontation, it was a declaration of war. His smug grin as he walked through my door, chest puffed with arrogance, made my blood boil. He looked like a man who thought he had won, like he had conquered something of value. But what he didn't realize was that he was about to lose everything. With a sneer that oozed disdain, he taunted me, his voice dripping with venom. "Listen up, cuckold," he spat. I didn't see a man standing there, I saw a dead mistake still breathing. His words were like a slap in the face, and he went on, undeterred, "She's my woman now. Accept it or I'll bury you in lawsuits so deep you won't know which way is up. And while you're drowning in court dates, I'll keep screwing your wife. When I get tired of her, then you can have her back, used up and broken." His grin widened, clearly enjoying the power he thought he wielded over me. But I didn't flinch. Instead, I took a single step forward, no warning, no hesitation, and drove my fist into his face. The sound of his cartilage shattering and teeth breaking echoed through the room. He staggered back, blood already pouring from his nose, barely able to catch his breath before I delivered a vicious kick to his groin. He collapsed into a pitiful heap, groaning and whimpering like the coward he was. The satisfaction of watching him crumble in front of me was short-lived, but it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. "Get out," I ordered, my voice a cold, unfeeling blade. "You're going to crawl back to whatever hole you came from. And if you ever come near me again, you won't just lose your teeth." I slammed the door and locked it, not giving him a second thought. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the end of it. This was just the beginning. I didn't let my emotions dictate my next move. There would be no rage-fueled punches thrown at walls or mindless outbursts. No, I had something far more dangerous in mind: strategy. If he thought his threats could scare me, he had no idea the hell he had just unleashed. I wasted no time. The first call I made wasn't to a divorce lawyer. That would have been a mistake. Instead, I reached out to a corporate shark, an attorney who specialized in crushing people like my wife's lover. I briefed him on everything: trespassing, verbal threats, attempted extortion, and physical threats, all recorded by my home security system in pristine 4K quality. The evidence was irrefutable. Within 48 hours, my lawyer had filed a restraining order against him. We served him with a civil lawsuit for harassment and emotional distress. And then, just to add a little salt to the wound, I leaked the restraining order filing to his employer, a company with a strict morality clause. Companies don't like to be associated with employees who threaten married men and engage in extramarital affairs, and suddenly his reputation, his rising star, was crumbling. His job, once secure, was now hanging by a thread. But that was just the appetizer. Next, I turned my attention to his clients. With careful precision, I sent anonymous emails to every major client he had. The message was simple: "Is this the kind of man you want handling your money?" Attached were copies of the restraining order, screenshots of his threats, and evidence of his affair with a married woman. No accusations, no hyperbole, just cold, hard facts. And as expected, his clients started dropping him like a hot potato. In his world, reputation was everything, and with it, his business crumbled. But my plan wasn't just about him. No, my cheating wife wasn't going to escape unscathed either. I filed for divorce, citing adultery, and armed with evidence that was undeniable. Texts between them, surveillance footage of him coming and going from our home, bank statements showing the money she spent on hotels and gifts. I had everything. But I wasn't done. I made sure to send a full anonymous packet to her HR department. No slander, no lies, just the facts. And as soon as they saw the evidence of her involvement in a messy public divorce due to her gross misconduct, they went into damage control mode. She was called in for meetings, placed under review, and even her colleagues started avoiding her. The cold shoulders, the whispers, she was sinking and she didn't even know it. As the days went by, the isolation set in. The arrogant lover and the unfaithful wife were becoming radioactive. Friends turned their backs on them, clients pulled away, and job security evaporated. Their world, once so certain, was now in complete collapse, and I didn't have to say a word. Not once did I raise my voice in anger. I simply let the consequences of their actions do all the talking. It took less than 2 months for everything to fall apart. The emails started coming in, first from him, desperate to salvage whatever dignity he had left. "Hey man, maybe we can talk," he begged. And then her pleading, "Please, can we meet?" I made a mistake. But by then it was too late. The war had been waged and the execution was already underway. The time for redemption had long passed. They had chosen their fate. I had always believed in the power of speaking up, of standing my ground, but in the end, I learned that sometimes silence is far louder than any words could ever be. I didn't answer her knock when she came to my door that night. I simply stood there watching through the window, calm and still. Her knock grew frantic as the minutes passed, 10 in total, but I didn't flinch. She had changed. The makeup was gone, her eyes hollowed out with exhaustion, her clothes hanging loosely on her frame, like they didn't fit her anymore. She was desperate, lost in the aftermath of her own choices. When she finally crumpled, sinking down to sit on the porch, tears falling into her hands, I didn't feel the slightest bit of pity. Instead, I felt something far more profound: freedom. She had made her choices and now she had to live with them. When she gave up and walked away into the night, I didn't look back. The door was sealed and I wasn't about to open it again. As the final step of my journey to reclaim myself, I ensured that everything that tied me to them was completely severed. The divorce was finalized and she walked away with nothing. No house, no car, no savings. He had lost everything too: his job, his career, his reputation. The industry he once thrived in had blackballed him. No interviews. No callbacks. He was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered existence. They turned on each other, blaming, fighting, desperate for anything to hold on to. In the end, they weren't even together anymore. Turns out, betrayal built on lies and selfishness has a way of collapsing just as quickly as trust is destroyed. I didn't just survive this hell. I became something they could never have imagined. I became their worst nightmare. Life after betrayal isn't about trying to rebuild what you lost. It's about rising so high, so far above the ashes they left behind, that they choke on the dust every time they hear your name. I leveled up. I didn't just move on, I thrived. I bought a house, a better one, paid for in full, no memories of them etched into the walls. My business, the one they thought I couldn't grow without them, flourished. I expanded it into something beyond what they could ever have believed I was capable of. I became the man they thought they had destroyed. But I didn't stop there. I didn't just rebuild my life. I rebuilt it with people who understood loyalty wasn't just a word, it was a bond. As they scrambled to pick up the scraps of their failed lives, I traveled, I celebrated, I lived. Every step I took forward was a reminder to them: you tried to bury me. You forgot I was the storm you should have feared. And as for them, they're nothing now. They're ghosts, walking reminders of what happens when you betray someone who has nothing left to lose. They're cautionary tales whispered at parties, not because of what I did to them, but because of what they did to themselves. I simply made sure the world watched as they sank. I didn't send them flowers or threats. I sent silence. And silence, I learned, was louder than any scream could ever be. The silence was a victory. It was a statement. It was my revenge. So was this revenge justified? Maybe. But it wasn't about that. It was about reclaiming my life and taking back the power they had once stolen from me. Now, every inch of my success is a reminder that when you strip a man of everything he thought he needed, he becomes unstoppable. And in the end, that's all that mattered. If you enjoyed this story, don't just scroll, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Share this with others who need to hear it. We want to know your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below.